Gonna try, gonna try, gonna try. Work till I die, till I die, till I die. I'm gonna fail and get up, 'cause I'm not giving up on my dream.
Hi my lovely Frosty fam, it's me, Karen Frost, here at Nail Decadence with another video for you. Welcome to my channel, welcome one and all. In this video I'm going to be playing with some products that Modelones have sent to me. So whilst I was poorly, I received a few packages from a few different companies, and Modelones is one of those companies. So I'm going to do an unboxing to show you everything that I got, because it's really exciting when you get new bits and bobs. It's so exciting because it's a surprise, because I didn't know exactly what was going to be in the box. I knew it was going to be some acrylic powders, but I didn't know the colours or anything like that. So in the box, as you saw, I got that leaflet, got some nail forms. I haven't tried those nail forms yet, but generally I'm not that keen on those particular kind, those gold rectangle ones. I'm not overly keen on those, but I haven't tested them to see how sticky they are or anything, so yeah, I can't really speak to how they perform because I didn't use them. But I used some of these. So these are acrylic powders, and as you can see on the packaging there, it says that they are both acrylic and dipping powders, which is interesting. So I'm assuming, of course, you can use these as dip powders. I'm not a fan of dipping. It's not something that I generally do, but it's good to know that these can be used for that purpose if I wished to do so. Pretty handy. So this is all what's in the box. So I've got 5 different acrylic powders. This brush looks to be synthetic as opposed to Kolinsky to me, and it seems rather small for a size 12. I'm not going to use the brush. I'm going to stick with my usual brushes because, yeah, I'm not the fan of that brush. Sorry, Modelones, but that kind of brush, I don't believe you'll get good application out of it, so I'm not going to use that brush. And then in this bit here we've got the liquid monomer. So here's the acrylic liquid. Now the only thing I will say about the packaging is there's not enough detail on the packaging. I'd like to see a bit more detail with the, you know, ingredients and description of the product kind of thing. Just a bit more of an in-depth label on the back of the products would be good. Just observation wise. The packaging is really standard. It's nothing to write home about. It's not particularly different or unusual or anything like that. So yeah, it's just standard packaging. But when you take into consideration the price of the products, there's no need for them to then bump up the prices to give you like really cool packaging or something like that. So I can understand why the packaging is the way it is, because that helps keep costs low, which means that their customers are able to pay less money for products than if they vamped up the packaging when, you know, essentially you throw the packaging away when the products are finished. The most important part really is the products inside the packaging, but I'm just giving you my general observations. So this is the first time I've played with Modelones acrylic powders and liquid monomer, so yeah, it takes a bit of getting used to. It's a much slower setting system than what I'm used to, but I'll get into that when I'm doing the design. But let's see the swatches. So these are the swatches. Mostly so I've got 3 glitter type acrylics, and then I've got the black and the pink. They didn't send a cover pink or a clear, so I'm going to be using my clear from Nao. So these are the colours that I chose to create the set. So obviously we've got the liquid. I chose this glitter powder, which was the silver one, number 24. It's a really pretty silver diamond kind of glitter mix. Then the black, which is number 15, and that sort of bubblegum pink, is number 13. So those are the powders that I chose, and then like I said, I'm going to be using my clear acrylic from Nao because they didn't send any with it, and I will always use the monomer that goes with the powder. I will not use a monomer from a different brand to use on different brands powders, because technically you're supposed to use the monomer that goes with the powders, because each brand has a recipe to their acrylic powders and their acrylic monomers, so it's always best to stick with the liquid and powder per each brand. So that's why I've got 2 different monomers, because I'm using 2 different brands of powders. Okay, so 2 monomer dishes on the go. It's just safety wise it's better to do it, and also for your insurance purposes. Insurance companies don't like you mixing brands, so do bear that in mind. You can invalidate your insurance if you are mixing brands. Just saying, it is what it is. So let's get on with the set, shall we? So I'm using my beautiful Handolly as usual. If you're interested in getting your hands on a realistic silicone practice hand, do check out Handolly at www.handolly.co.uk, and you are welcome to use my affiliate code KFGIFT for a discount on your order. So on this set I am doing stiletto nails. Thought I'd do some pointies. So first thing I did was apply my thin clear base after I had off camera applied the tips and prepped the nails and all of that. I just applied my thin clear base, and then we're going straight into the design. So applying that bubblegum pink on the middle finger, just a full nail of that, and I noticed it was getting stuck in my brush, so you saw I really pinched my brush in between the kitchen rolls to make sure I got all of that acrylic out of my brush. You don't want acrylic stuck in your brush. It will stop your brush from working properly, and it will just keep attracting more and more acrylic to get stuck into it. So if you notice any getting stuck in your brush, really pay attention and wipe your brush off. Definitely pay attention to things like that. You see, I'm making sure, and I'm dipping it in the monomer, and I'm really making sure that I don't have any stuck in my brush. This is a wetter system than what I'm used to. That's why it started getting stuck in my brush, because this is the first time I'm using the products. I didn't know what the correct ratio working wise is, so I'm playing as I go and learning as I go. Therefore, that first nail that I did with the pink was sort of my first practice of using these powders and sort of getting to know how these powders work. And as you can see, I can get a neat nail out of them. That's not a problem. It's just a case of getting used to the ratio and how the product works. It's really weird because it looks quite, what's the word? Quite lumpy when you place the bead down, and then it doesn't move, and you kind of get worried and think, oh, it's not moving. But the moment you place your brush back onto it with a bit of monomer, it just relaxes and starts to flow. It's really strange. I'm not used to that. Can you see, look, it sits there and it doesn't move, but then I put my brush in with a bit of monomer on it, and it just starts relaxing, and you can just mold it how you want it to go. It's not a texture that I'm used to, but I didn't find it difficult to work with at all. As you can see, the only difficulty I had was because it is so slow setting. When I tried to use my what's it called, a craft knife to cut this color block, I used it too soon, so it hadn't set up enough for me to get clean lines using the knife. So for color blocks, I think probably do another nail, then come back and cut it maybe, because it does set up a lot slower than what I'm used to. I'm used to a high speed monomer, so this was definitely different for me. But as you can see, I can get a neat nail out of it. Look, you know, I can get it nice, fairly nice and smooth. So it workability wise, it's really good. And because you've got so much time to play with it, I'd say it's definitely a good brand for beginners to get used to application, definitely. But for professionals, I'm not too sure, because of it sets up so slow. professionals move quite quickly, and waiting for stuff to set up isn't really going to be what you want when you're in a professional setting, if that makes sense. Especially if you're doing color blocks and reverse Frenches, you need those to set up quite fast. If you're going to either cut them in or file them in, you do need them to set up rather quickly so that you can carry on with what you're doing. So yeah, professional wise, I'm not sure how these products would work, but definitely for the at-home user, not a problem. They're really nice, just different for me. You guys see all the brands that I use, so this, me being used to high speed, obviously everyone has their own personal preference, and my preference is normally to work quite quickly and waiting for things to set up. I'm so impatient, but workability wise of these powders, yeah, they you can look how smooth that little finger is. You can get a really nice smooth surface out of them. It's a shame they didn't send the clear, because I'm having to cap in the Neo clear, so I don't know how their clear will perform. But if it performs like the coloured powders perform, then I don't see that being a problem at all. It's just, yeah, I haven't tried it, and obviously I'm not doing a wear test on these because I'm doing it on Handolly. This was the first set I'd done since being ill, so getting over COVID, I don't even have nails on. As you can see, I'm wearing my gloves because I've got no nails on. I don't want you to see my manky hands. I managed to take my nails off whilst I was sick because I didn't want them to be so overgrown that they would break. So I did take my nails off, but I still haven't got any nails on at the moment. I'm just not well enough. Doing my own nails takes a really long time compared to doing a set on Handolly. So yeah, I'm not quite, strength wise, I'm not quite up to sitting to do my own nails yet, but I'm one hand doing Handolly, you know, it's basically 4 fingers, so I'm able to do that. That's okay. I do get exhausted still. This really knackers me out doing the editing and doing the videos themselves. It's really strange. The after effects of COVID are very weird. The other thing is, I can't tell you what their Monomer smells like because thanks to COVID I still don't have my full sense of taste and smell back yet. I can smell a little bit, but I can't tell you exactly whether this stuff smells strong or not because I still don't have my sense of smell back 100% yet. I'm sort of working with 30% of my smell and taste at the moment, which is so frustrating, but yeah, all I can do is wait for that to come back. My nose is still a bit stuffed up, so if I sound a bit nasally, then well, yeah, that's why. Yeah, it's still a bit mucusy, which is probably TMI, but it's what I'm working with right now. Filing wise, as you can see, I'm going to file that colour block in, not a problem. It files nicely, but you do have to wait a fair amount of time for it to set up before you can file. So anyway, let's carry on with the set. So I'm doing this colour block. So I've done this triangle by the cuticle area going down to the middle of the nail, and then I'm doing a band of the silver, so a sort of chevron of the silver against that bubblegum pink. So I want to make sure that goes right up the wall of the pink so that I get a nice clean line. I'm also going to need to cap that in clear because it's glitter. I don't want to file into the glitter. So once I've built up the thickness of this band, because I'm not doing it too thick, I'm doing it as a sort of fairly thin band of the glitter, just to give it a bit of va-va-voom, you know, bit of glitter, because we like glitter. I tried to keep this set a bit more simple, so I was very good. I didn't go overboard with this set. I could have done, but I thought, no, Karen, keep it simple, show the colours of the acrylic powders off and don't cover them all up with loads of crazy designs. So I thought I'd just do one fancy nail and we'll keep the rest just plain, and I think it worked out quite well. What do you think? Let me know what you think. This is me keeping it simple. That might not mean simple to you. Doing a colour block is probably not exactly simple to a lot of people, but for me this was a very simple design. You can file in. I didn't bother trying to cut it this time because my timing is off with waiting for it to set up. I don't know this acrylic system well enough to be able to time it right, so I thought, you know what, just cap it and let it set up and come back and file it in. So that's what I'm doing. So just when you're filing your colour blocks, make sure you're pushing against the acrylic, not down onto the nail itself. That's really important. That way you're not filing into the nail itself, you're just filing against the acrylic. You don't want to leave grooves in the nail underneath, you know. So do pay attention to that. Don't press down, just press against the wall. I know it sounds strange, but when you do it, you'll know exactly what I mean. So now that I have filed that silver chevron in, I will use the black acrylic all the way for the rest of that nail. So get that right up against that wall, and if I go over, I'm not worried because I am going to file in. What I should have done was capped the pink and built my apex and before I did the silver, but I didn't, so I am gonna have to go back after I filed in the reveal. I will have to go back and cap and put my apex in afterwards, but that's my own fault. Yeah, first setback after being poorly. I'm a bit out of practice, to be honest, but I didn't do too badly. I don't think my application is too bad, given that, you know, yeah, it's my first setback after COVID and it's the first time using those coloured powders, so I don't think I did too badly. So here we go. I start off with my hand file, so I've let that set up. I started off with my hand file and then thought, Karen, what are you doing? Get your refile out, you lunatic. So remembered finally that I've got an e-file, got that out, and we'll just reveal those lovely clean lines of that chevron block, colour block pattern. So just, I'm using a fine carbide bit to do this reveal because I don't have a huge amount of acrylic to remove, and I don't want to remove too much. I just want to reveal the nice clean lines. That's all I need to do because I still need to cap. This is still quite a thin nail, so yeah, I don't want to file too much away because we need some of the nail to be there to give some strength. So yeah, once I'm happy with as much as I've revealed, now I'm going to dampen the nail down with a bit of monomer, which helps my acrylic, my clear acrylic, then slide over the top of the nail and blend in nicely. So I'm putting my structure in at this point. Like I said, I should have done it when I did the pink and built it up as I went, but I didn't because I totally forgot to do that. Never mind, we'll put the strength and structure in the nail now. So yeah, I'm just going to add acrylic where it's needed, make sure my apex is in the back third, make sure I've got a nice slope up from the cuticle area down towards the tip of the nail, make sure there is enough acrylic on the tip so that it's not going to be too thin that it will break. You want it to be strong enough to withstand daily living, daily tasks, so do put make sure you put enough on the tip, especially with stilettos because it's such a small area. Anyway, filing time. Are you a frosty filing freak? Oh yes, I'm a frosty filing freak, and I know my frosty filing freaks are out there. However, if you are not one, do skip ahead to that timestamp on screen and you can skip the filing if you are not one of my frosty filing freaks. But for my lovely triple Fs, here we go. So first thing I'm doing is filing the side walls, sharpening up the side walls and making sure that my point is nice and pointy. Stilettos can be rounded or they can be pointy. It's personal preference how you wish your tip of the nail to be. So I'm making these quite pointy this time. They're going to be not quite razor points, but they are going to be fairly sharp. As you can see, I'm having to skip that ring finger because it still hasn't set up, and I'm impatient, so I'm going to file the other nails as I go. And then you'll see there I just tapped on with my file. When you tap the nail, you're looking for a kind of hollow tap like that, sort of. If it's a dull kind of thud, it's the acrylic's not hardened, it's not ready to be filed, so wait a few more minutes. But if you get a nice sort of high-pitched tap, then you'll know you're good to go. You can carry on filing. So on to the cuticle area now. So I'm using a small coned diamond bit to go around the cuticle area because there's not a lot of acrylic at that cuticle area and you don't want to file too much of it away. Therefore a diamond bit is more than adequate. You don't need anything harsher than that for the cuticle area, to be honest. The acrylic shouldn't be thick enough to need anything other than that, really. And because my application was fairly neat, I don't really have any debulking to do. So I'm going straight in with just my sanding band. And I've got some purple ones. Mandy, your fault. I gave in, Mandy, I gave in. It's your fault. One of my lovely subscribers, Mandy, was talking about getting the different coloured sanding bands, and I did say to her I'm not buying any of the coloured ones because I need to get through the ones that I have, the brown ones that I have, before I buy any more. But in the end I gave in and I got some purple ones which I really didn't need but I really wanted, so I'm blaming it on Mandy. Anyway, so yeah, as my application was really neat, I go straight in with my sanding band and I'm literally just blending the nail, contouring it basically. So those side walls that I made nice and sharp and into a nice block cut line, I now need to make them into a curve. And I've gone around this cuticle area too much. Can you see where I filed away some of that black? Yeah, because this is where I was saying you don't need anything harsh by the cuticle area because the acrylic there is very, very thin, and if you go over it too many times, as you can see, you file too much of it away. So I'm not that worried about it though, because I'm going to be putting some crystals on, so that will hide where I've over filed. But if you're not putting crystals on, just stop, get your acrylic powders back out, fill in that back area, let it dry, and then just buff over it and it will be fine. No one will know any different. Okay, these things happen. I get file happy and I overfile quite often, so yeah, don't panic if it happens to you and you've got a client sitting in the chair. Literally just get your acrylic powders back out, fill in that back area, carry on what you're doing whilst that sets up, and then all you need to do is buff it, because you only need to literally paint on a very thin amount of the colour to fill it in. Just buff it over with a buffing block after it's dried, and then you can go straight in with your top coat and your bling and whatever. Not a problem. Okay, so don't panic if you overfile. Anywho, it's time to bling it, baby. So I'm using the SBD London Diamond Gel pen. It's my favourite for flatback crystals. I do love this stuff. It really holds the crystals on and it's so convenient to use. So I'm going to flash cure those first crystals in place so that they don't move whilst I do the next nail. Just a 10-second quick flash cure is enough to hold them in place. They'll get a full cure once I top coat and cure for 60 seconds. Then the diamond gel will get that, you know, the full cure at that point. So yeah, a 10-second cure is fine to do as you go along. So on that middle finger, I'm just doing a diamond shaped pattern with the crystals, just so that then the nails sort of flow and it kind of matches the whole diamond pattern, you know, chevron pattern on the ring finger. So I'm just sort of tying the design together in a nice little bow kind of thing, making it flow. When you do nails and you want a set to be cohesive, you do little things like that, and it just makes the nails all flow together and look a cohesive set. So I'm using different crystals as well. So I'm using some silver crystals which will tie in with the glitter that's on the ring finger as well. So, you know, like I said, and black to tie in with the black nails. It all kind of flows and goes together. I'm quite matchy. I like to match things up and let the set become nice, have a nice flow to it. Anywho, we are very close to the end of this video, so I'm just going to carry on putting my crystals on, flash cure those in place, and now here we go. It's time to top it off and keep it tough, which means, like I said, we are at the end of the video. So whilst you watch me top coat, I would like to say thank you, Model Ones, for sending me these products to have a play with. I've enjoyed using it. Thank you ever so much. I'd like to say thank you also to my lovely viewers and my subscribers. Thank you ever so much for coming to my channel, spending some of your most precious time with me watching this video. I appreciate you. Thank you. If you have not done so already, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. Join the Frosty Fam. We'd love to have you. We're growing nicely. It's wonderful. We've got a nice little community going in the comments section. It's really good. If you've enjoyed this video or it's helped you in any way, shape or form, please click that like button. It would mean the world to me. It's so important for my channel and it takes but a second for you to do. I'd really appreciate if you could click that like button, and if you feel like it, you're more than welcome to leave me a comment. I'm more than happy to talk to you. That is all I have for this time, peeps. Here is the finished set. I hope you've enjoyed this one. That's all I got for this time, peeps. I love you very much. Thank you for watching. Take care now, and I'll speak to you all again very, very soon. Bye for now.
My bed, yeah. Didn't know I could feel this empty. Don't know if I'm able to move on from you, babe. But I know that it doesn't always work out. Yeah. Just because you're in love doesn't mean it's enough. I know you're sad, but baby, honestly, I don't care about the way you feel. 'Cause when it's over, you leave me broken on my knees. Went from being lovers, kisses, hugs, and cuddles.
Someday soon, I'm gonna make it. Yeah.